and we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. So, have any of you guys, we used it the other night for our board meeting, this AI companion thing it's pretty good. We're kind of without a
Love it.
secretary right now, so we're just kind of dubbing until we get to the first of the year here.
Love it.
And yeah, it's been pretty good. It doesn't make too bad of errors. Just you spend 5 minutes editing, and you got a nice set of synopsis. I kind of like the way it works. So, and I'm probably going to be using this AI stuff this next couple days, figure out how to take this motorcycle apart. So that'll be fun, I guess. It's kind of weird taking apart a motorcycle. Oh, I already got a problem with it right now. So the just like my 12 Rory has that uh uh tire pressure sensor light lit on it right now that's not running right.
Right.
And this new one, the same thing all of a sudden. So there's a recalibration procedure, and then I'm hoping not to have to take it back to the dealer, but we'll see.
Huh.
So we got our governor tonight. And
Hello,
we got
everybody.
the whole governor crowd tonight except for Wendy. How about that?
Good to be here.
There we go. So you glad the conference is over?
I am. I enjoyed it. It was very informative, inspiring, fun.
All
of the above.
Mhm.
One of the very few I missed, but I was committed. So
Understand. Yes.
I
Yeah,
was-
I think it went
I
well.
was
We
with
had some
other
wonderful.
Rotarians doing some recruiting. So
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Yeah,
Hi,
it was great.
everybody.
hi,
It was
Lee.
really great.
I think that we don't have very many members here tonight, but Lee, I think this is your first time on board with us.
It is.
Yep. Lee is our let's get the right designation. He's our governor designate. Renee's our
Nominee. I'm
governor
nominee.
nominee. Yeah, Renee's
6
our
days
governor
or 27
designate.
days.
Sharna's our governor, and so we got a lot of governing sitting here tonight in a way. So
And
anyway,
past district governors, right?
yeah, a couple of them in here. There's one here anyway. Yeah, two of them here.
Yeah. Well, two of
So
you. Yeah.
actually, my club has I think 6 of them overall. So we get some governing stuff here going on. So do you know David Satterley, Sharna?
Yes.
He's over by Vermont. Yeah, he's one of regular members of our club. He has got another district meeting right now at the same time. He's going to watch us later. So
I have a 7:30, but I'll be here until then.
so does Renee, evidently. So anyway, did any Keith or Deb or Roy, did you guys have anything we need to hit before we start?
Not that I can think of. Not today.
Okay.
Any assistance with Venmo, I'd appreciate it.
Oh, I can get on with you that later, maybe figure out what's going on.
Well, they froze our account until I send them some information, but I can't send them the information because there's no place on the site to do it.
Oh, which you're linking that to our Flagstar account?
Yeah.
Okay. Or was it the Chase? Oh, it's the club's Flagstar. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Sparky. So I've known Sparky for heck, a long time now, 20 years maybe. Started out playing pool together, if I remember right, and beating everybody in the house. So I think that was at an assistant governor training or something like that, back when Sparky was first assistant governor. So anyway, Sparky had recently represented us at the Council of Legislation. We have one of those every 3 years, and Rotary changes. And we're here about a month away right now for new changes to take effect. And maybe some of them are staged in sequence. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to Sparky. He's going to talk to us about the process tonight, as well as some of the new things coming up. And so with that, Sparky.
Thanks, Jerry, and thanks for explaining our misspent youth in the pool halls when we became champions of the sticks and the cues. Anyways, yes, I'm Sparky Leonard. For those who haven't, I think I've met everybody on the last couple of Zooms that I spoke to you on. Council legislation. First, what I can say about council legislation is it solidifies to me that I am in the right organization. And by that, what I mean is we are truly 100% a member up organization. I remember years ago that I had a conversation with somebody about how polio and about the eradication of polio started, and how it started by one member in a club who said, we have a cure, we need to do something about this. The club took it to the district took it to the council voted on it, and lo and behold, it became one of our major projects. And that was something, until you really see the effects of the council legislation, or at least until I seen them, I didn't really understand how that process could even be possible. How I, one member in a small club in the middle of what I think is nowhere, could make an impactful difference around the world. But it really, really, really does happen in our organization. So in order to be eligible to serve on the council legislation, your name is put forward to the nomination committee. You must be a past district governor. And then once, at least our process in our district, every district can handle it differently. Like most clubs can handle what they do differently. But the process in our district was, I was nominated by and interviewed by the nomination committee to represent our district. Some of the priors were past district governor Jim Gilmore, past district governor Keith Koch, past district governor Don Rydell, the most recent ones that I can recall. It is a 3-year term. You do a lot of it online. You do a lot of voting online prior to the main event in Chicago. And it is held in Chicago, not Evanston, for the simple fact it's easier to house everybody and accommodate the masses of people that are there. Remember that we are one district in about 520 districts. So there's approximately 520 members of the council assembled at the event. And we're from all around the world, and it just, in order to fit everybody in, they needed to use a particular hotel in Chicago. So this happened this past April, and we went over about 86 different resolutions. Resolutions are items that a member brought up to their club took to their district took it to the point where they all agreed that it should go to the council to be voted on, to see if they could make changes the way we do business in Rotary International. And Jerry, if I could ask you just to maybe throw up a couple of those photos at any time now, and I'll speak to the photos because I think they tell a 1,000 words that I likely can't really put in writing for you. When I talk about the numbers of people, I tried taking a few shots so that we could show you that, but there's a picture of the room. And those are all the delegates and how we're lined up in our seating areas to assemble and we're there for, we start Sunday night and we're there until Thursday, and we're putting in 8-hour, easy hour days. We do get nice breaks and we have a lunch and there's lots of time in between, but it is fully a full pack time where we are in session, most of it going over each of the resolutions. What happens when a resolution comes up, one of these members will go to the podium and they will speak to their resolution, whoever proposed it. And then there will be people speak for and against the proposal. If somebody speaks against the proposal, then the proposer gets to come back, speak to the questions of that. And then once the council feels they've heard enough, the chair calls for the vote, and then we vote. So maybe Jerry, go through another, let's take another slide there if you could, please. And I sent all this to Jerry because again, my Zoom talents are not very, very good. So Jerry's got the photos and we didn't have to share screens and all that kind of stuff. So
Hey, Sparky, before I leave this, you have representatives, 500 and some people in the room. And you said the proposer. So you're saying the proposing district, that representative speaks to the item being proposed. Is that what you're saying?
yes, that person would go to the podium and speak, go to the front podium, actually, read the resolution and And then all delegates have the opportunity to speak for or against the proposal before we vote on it.
So you as an individual, if for instance, if I had made a proposal from our club, you would have had to been versed in that proposal prior to going to this then.
Absolutely. Not only well versed, but would have to work on behalf of our district to try and get that proposal passed if we believe strong enough in it, right? So yes, that's exactly how it would work, Jerry.
And you were already aware of what was being presented, right?
Yes, we are sent a package about 3 months before. There are some that are added last minute, but we were sent a package that we have to do our homework. As I say, we read them all, made some initial comments on it. Some I felt very strongly about right away. And the other thing they try and really emphasize to us as the representatives is that when you're voting on any of these resolutions, you're not voting just for what's good for your club or your district. You have to try and think that you're voting on what's best for the entire Rotary International and how it's represented around the world. So some of the ones that I thought, oh no, that doesn't make any sense. Once you're there and you listen to the proposers' reasonings and you listen to some of the pros and the cons, sometimes you change your vote. But yes, indeed, we had all of these resolutions ahead of time. I made folders on each and every one, notes on each and every one before I left to go there. So I had a very good idea what we're coming up to, but I really had no idea the magnitude of how this went on. I mean, this is truly, in my opinion, just like the United Nations. So I took this picture of this gentleman that was seated right beside me, who was from Greece, I believe, and we sat together for 2 days, and then they move us to 2 other. So you once again in Rotary, you're meeting people that all think, for the most part, very much alike, from all around the world. And he was just a marvelous gentleman to work with, and I just took that photo to kind of show how we are so diverse and from all around the world there at the council. So next one, Jerry, please. This just shows that we actually go through an orientation session, how it's going to open, what we're going to go through. President Urchik was there, and she gave us her comments, the chairman's thoughts. I don't need to read all that for you, but you can see we went through it line by line. This was on the Sunday session. We did a couple of practice votes. One of the scenarios they brought up, they said, instead of having the Council of Legislation in Chicago, it was being proposed by a club that we have it in Hawaii. And that the reason for Hawaii would be the temperature would be better, the people would pay more attention, they wouldn't go shopping on the Michigan Mile, and that would be a great thing to do. And then somebody spoke to it, somebody spoke against it, and then we went to vote. So it really broke the ice and showed us exactly how this was going to operate. So
you're saying I have the opportunity to go to Hawaii if I'm the next representative for our district?
No, because that got voted down. So it's still in
Didn't
Chicago.
do your job.
No, it's still in Chicago. So yes, indeed. And I would encourage you, Jerry, or any of our other past district governors to put your name forward to be interviewed for this, because it is just a really wonderful opportunity.
I am actually at the point in my life ready to do that. So
cool. Here you'll see where we had to actually adopt the rules of procedure. So did we agree with the rules? Well, 22 members from all of us did not. Now you'll see that number is only at 472. And that was because there were a few that were a little late. There were some that didn't even make it for different reasons of the 520. So we were actually about 501 on the next day. I was going to say tomorrow, but on the Monday morning. So we were only 472 at the orientation. So next slide.
Sparky, no
Yes.
remote voting. Is that right?
No, 100%. You must be in the room. And you must be in the room. They take attendance, and if you're not in the room, your district does not receive the funding to send us there. So, well, you don't receive the funding. You would be charged. You'd have to pay your own way. They only pay if if you're in session. So they went over the Rotary action plan. They try and give us a bit of an idea of where Rotary's going. And this was, I brought this one up tonight because it was Chris Etienne, who most of us know. She's a director from our neighboring district and is in our zone. And many of us have met Chris either at PETS or at some other district events. So that's part of the opening session on Sunday, where we get the action plan of where Rotary's going, the roadmap, financially and thought process. Next year. And then there's Chris, for anybody who hasn't met Chris in the past. That was her at the front. And again, this is one big stage and one big group of people. So this little device here, I mentioned earlier, we're 520 countries, 520, not countries, sorry, 520 representatives from over 200 countries. And you can only imagine there's a lot of different languages. Well, Rotary provides all of this, I believe, in 9 different languages. So you have this little machine, you plug in your headset, and if somebody's going to go up and speak to a resolution in French, you put your headset on. If they're going to speak in Japanese, or they're going to speak in Indian, then you have your headset on. And it's also for them when most are speaking in English. So the translators do an absolutely wonderful job. It's almost, because you can sort of hear the person live, but you hear the translator right word for word right after, telling you exactly what they're talking about in the presentation. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that I thought would be interesting for people to see too, how the translators work. And this is Haresh. He's from Jamaica. He was the master of ceremonies, I believe, in Atlanta, if anybody went to that conference. And Haresh was up speaking against a particular proposal at the time. And I just took his picture to give you sort of an idea of what the podium looks like. And behind him is a sergeant of arms, and they're there to make sure that people are orderly. We go, following the rules of procedure, one at a time, and such from there. So, and that was mine, and that was my seat the first day, I believe. And then, yes, row 3, and I was on the far left-hand side, and it was all alphabetical by your first name. And they went by the Don, not the Sparky, so I was up in row 3. The next day, they went alphabetical by our last names. So I dropped back a few rows and ended up on the right side. And it was really a refreshing way to take part and to meet other people. So very, very, very well organized.
How many days?
We went in on Sunday. You have to be in session at 3 o'clock on Sunday, and we were there till Thursday at lunch. So that's 4 complete days, I guess. Now, this is the interesting part. I told you earlier about how you'd get up and speak for or against, and the chair recognizes the people. So how would they know what you wanted to do was by these cards, and you'll see the different colors. The first one, the yellow one, that was if you thought you had a point of order that you didn't understand or something, you just wanted some clarification. Matter of fact, I think it was on day 1 after our first break, one of the delegates got up with a yellow card, and he was recognized, and he said, Chair, I think these breaks are wonderful. The coffee's delicious, but I think we should have cookies. There was no cookies at break, and we all had a good laugh. And sure enough, on the afternoon break, there were cookies. So that's what the yellow card's for. That's to get you cookies. That's to get up and talk to the chair about any point of order that you would like to speak to. The green card is if I want to speak in support of any proposal that was brought forward. And you would raise the green card, you'd go to the podium, and you'd go in order, and they would recognize you from either podium 1, 2, 3, or 4. Depending on where you were seated. And I guess now you can all figure out the red card might mean that you're going to talk against the proposal, and that's why you would walk up with your red card. And again, the chair would recognize so many. Now, I told you earlier, it's a bunch of past district governors. And if any of you have been to any meetings and the past district governor stands up and starts talking, you know it's going to be a long time. So in order to try and slow that down, 520 past district governors with all their opinions on each and every resolution for and against, we'd have been there for 4 months. The next card, the yellow and blue card. When the delegates felt that they had heard enough to make their decision, that some people were repeating the previous, we were asked never to do that. However, the odd time it still might happen. So when we're ready to vote, we raise the yellow card. And when 75% of the delegates are ready to vote, then the chair calls for the vote and ends the discussion. And as I said, just before the vote happens, the proposer does get to speak for 1.5 minutes, I believe, maybe it was 2 minutes, just on the I guess to answer any of the questions that might have come up about the resolution during that time. So pretty old fashioned way, 4 different colored cards, but that's what we would do. And of course, you can't have any presentation where you don't have show the Rotary sign, the Rotary wheel. And that's what that one there was for. Okay, this one here. Oh, that should have been close to the interpretations form. I told Jerry put them up in any order, so you can see that would just tell us what channel if we wanted to listen in a different language. So there's your languages on the left in the channel that we would tune in on.
So what was that? Korean, Japanese, and what?
Yep. Well, I got to put my glasses on now, Jerry. Espanol, Portuguese, different Chinese and Italiano, French,
Okay.
and
Mandarin Chinese. Okay, got it.
Yeah, Mandarin Chinese and whatever else. Yeah.
Oops, sorry. There we go.
Okay, now this little BlackBerry, as I call them, if we all remember the BlackBerry when they were out, this company must have purchased a lot of them. And what it would do is you press green for yes, or 1 for yes, or 2 for no, and then that's how they would record the vote. And almost instantly, like within 30 seconds, it's all tabulated and they throw it up on the screen exactly what the vote was, and you can figure out your percentages of the vote that it passed by or failed by. So that was really a great thing. And then there, I took a picture of it when I had voted yes on that particular one. Now, if I wanted to cancel my vote, if all of a sudden I made a mistake, you just click the X and you could change it, but you don't have a lot of time. So you really want to kind of make sure you're voting the way you want your vote to be submitted. And then your vote goes through. So that tells me that my vote was received. Now, this was on day 2, and I happened to be by podium 1, and many of you will know who John Huco is. John Huco is the General Secretariat for Rotary International. And a lot of the questions that would come up, we needed to have the information provided. Even the chair might not know, and often they would have to defer back to John. And I must say, he did, again, just a wonderful job of being on top of his game, really knowing what the topics were and how they could better assist us at the council. So I was just seated right beside this gentleman here, and that's how close we were to that podium. So it was a great opportunity just to grab a picture. Go ahead.
John's parents were both Ukrainian. They both passed away now. He was born and raised right here in Clarkston, Michigan.
Yeah, he sure was. And his father, Hugh, was a wonderful gentleman. I have a
great guy.
A shameless plug for Sparky Leonard. I have my photograph in John Huco's office in Evanston, not because of Sparky Leonard, but because I'm with John's father, Lou, who Ashish Sakar and I took Lou Huco during the year that I was governor to Evanston so that he could see where John worked. At that time, cool. Lou was starting to fail with dementia, but yeah, just a beautiful family and a great person, a great leader. There was one resolution that came up, and I'd like to just speak to it real quick, and I'll try and be as fast as I can. We're getting close to 7:30, but there were some proposals. There were some proposals to have the general secretary's position limit it to just 3 years. And that proposal obviously failed. And one of the main reasons that I voted against that is, can you imagine trying to hire the best person in that position to lead your organization, but the person would know that they're only going to be there for 3 years, and then they'd be looking for a new job like the moment they're in there, and you wouldn't really be getting the best. So the district that brought it up said, this got nothing to do with John. We're sure that it didn't, but they just felt it was the way to do it. They also felt that it should be a past district governor that takes on that position. And again, I could sell a lot of cars, and I think I did a fair job as a governor, and I'm sure all the governors feel the same when they'd have their year. But I don't think I could lead Rotary International at that level. So both of those got turned down rather quickly. Was that the last photo, Jerry, then?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Quick question,
Okay.
if I may, since I have to sign off.
Yes.
Is there a place that we can go, perhaps online? Maybe it's on Rotary.org, where there's a Reader's Digest condensed version of the results? Of the council?
Absolutely. And I was going to say that at the end, but we'll do it right now.
Okay,
And if anybody's been on Rotary International and you've been into our Rotary.org and you've tried to find things, unless you're a lot more talented than me, you probably got lost. So remember Google. Google is your best friend. You just Google. Here, a matter of fact, I've got it here because I Googled it here, so I have a couple. The exact words that I put in were Rotary Council on Legislation 2025 results. And it will automatically take you, you'll have to log into your Rotary then, but it'll take you right to the page you want. And it has all of the resolutions in there as to what the vote was and the percentage and stuff like that. And then you can dig into the council and legislation even more by just saying council legislation, take you to that page. But I Google everything. I don't try and go the front door.
Hey,
thank you for that
Sparky,
reminder. I appreciate
let
it.
me
Okay,
share
I'm gonna say
this
good
real
night to
quickly.
everyone. Thank you so much. Great to see all of you. Take
See you,
care.
Renee.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for,
Sparky,
Yep,
let
good
me
night.
share this. I just did that, but you know what? If you put at the end of that site Rotary.org,
Yeah.
it forces the search to go to Rotary.org.
Oh, there you go. And it'll bring it up.
And there's your resolution results right there.
Yep.
And I saw recaps also. So that was very helpful link. Thank you so much.
Yep,
Thank you,
I've got a
Sparky,
question when you
and
got
thank
time.
you, everyone. I need to log off for next
So-
meeting.
Thanks, Sharon.
Actually, I think this is a
Have a good
previous
night.
one, but okay. Anyway,
I've got a question
share
for
again.
concerning the results of the council legislation. And one of them is that district conferences are now optional. Lois talked me out of it today. I was going to cancel the district conference altogether that I've booked. I wanted your opinion on that. Marty gave an opinion at the zone meeting the other day. She'll be our international director for my year. And she says, just give us 4 hours and we'll call it good.
Yeah.
That was her opinion, which is interesting. And she said, RI says, give it 6. Because that's what they spend in RI and Evanston on the district conference, 6 to 8 hours. So I just want you guys' opinion, because one way or the other, I've got to decide this thing. I'm looking at I'm thinking of a 1 day, very close to home, nothing fancy, in and out of there, cover the basic meetings, go home. Because that's what I'm thinking of a district conference right now. I just want your opinion on that.
Lee, if I can offer something, if we could have a sidebar on that, I'll definitely.
I'd love to hear from you. Give me a call, and
Because
I'd
I'm gonna
love to talk to you about it.
when we
I'd
get
love
done
to
with the
talk.
council thing here, we got a little bit. Are you getting off too, or are you on staying on?
Who, me?
Yeah, right now. Are you leaving for another meeting?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, hang in there then. We'll talk a little bit about conference at the end here. But
All right.
Jerry,
Quick
you asked me to
question.
talk. Yep, go ahead.
The one I'm looking at right now at the RI site says 2024 Council on Resolutions.
2025.
Should be 2025. Why that-
yeah.
They probably haven't updated it yet. You got to think that's a lot of material to just
Yeah,
drop.
but it should be
So,
every 3 years. That's why I'm confused why there's a 24 one.
Well,
good
there
question.
are some minor ones that we do online prior to. So if you click on there, it'll be different types of nothing. More housekeeping. I don't want to call them not important, because they're all important when they get to that level. But
Okay.
We also vote ahead of time on many that and some of them just get dealt with that way. So that would have been what we did in 2024, back around October, I think it was, or September, October of last year, we voted on some amendments and such. I was just going to talk a little bit about some of the highlights that came out of the council. And Lee did bring up the one. So it's no longer a requirement to have a district conference. You see, up until this year, a district you must have a district conference at the end of your year or at the beginning of your year. And you could ask for a Rotary International President's Rep. And the reason that this came about is because, unfortunately, around the world, district conference attendance has been shrinking, and sometimes districts are still asking for president's reps, and they find it's a lot of money for small results, and to the tune of almost $2.5 million they spend on sending president's reps to all of the different districts around Rotary. So that's the cost savings that they were looking at. If districts still wish to have them, it's certainly up to them. If they still wish to have a president's rep, that will also be up to the district to request one. I'm not 100% sure if a criteria has been made as to how they will provide that person, or if they'll say, unfortunately, there's no one available. I don't know that yet. That didn't come up in the legislation, just the part where it is now no longer a requirement, but it is at the district. And that brings up Lee's question at the district level. Another highlight is
just a quick other note, Lee, should you decide to do that, there's problems in our manual procedure of stuff that's supposed to be done that'll have to be addressed before you cancel that. Because there's meeting requirements that have to be done, and so that's got to be addressed. You're on mute, Lee.
Yeah, I know you have to have an annual business meeting and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
There's some requirements that if we end up not having a conference, we gotta work with that.
Right,
Changes.
I know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what else would you like to point out to us?
Another couple of things that changed is the size of a Rotary club. In order to start a new Rotary club, currently you needed to have 20 members. That's been reduced to 15 members effective July 1st. So we will maybe have more clubs with smaller numbers and still achieve our end result of increasing membership. We also changed the name from Pets to Pals. My first comment was, if this is really going to bring us more members, I didn't quite understand it. It passed narrowly. Many people went to what they thought was Pets this year, and some of the zones that are the multi-district Pets had already changed it to Pals. The only change there is, instead of training, it's learning. Sometimes I don't think that's going to really drive up our membership, which is probably our biggest challenge. We're at 1.2 million, and we were at 1.2 million 4 years ago. We added 200,000 Rotaractors, took us to 1.4. We're at 1.2. We're bleeding badly in North America, and we really need to focus on membership. So if there's any message I can get through to all of us, is to look around, find some great people, and let's increase our membership. Some that didn't pass: limit the number of honorary members. The reason there is that in some different areas of the world, clubs and districts would bring in a bunch of honorary members so that they could vote, so that they could elect their district governors, because everybody does it a little bit different, and then the honorary member would go away. So it was kind of like stuffing the ballots, kind of odd, not the way that I ever seen it. But so when you heard some of the rationale, of course, that got defeated, and we can still have as many honorary members as we do have. And provide that all candidates for president shall have in-person interviews. So some of the districts felt that everybody should have the opportunity. And again, there's a lot of people put their name in to be president of RI that don't even get to the interview process. But they felt that everybody must go on a in-person. And the feeling still is that if if it's in the best interest of Rotary International and the president nominee to be interviewed, to do it by Zoom, they can still do it by Zoom. So that was another one that they kind of looked at. So those are just some small highlights of some of the things. There was also a small increase in dues. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I apologize for that, because that's usually the next question is how much. It's like $4 or something over the course of 3 years. It's not a lot of money. And if you look at the reasons why, in order to continue to serve our members the way we do, it's great bang for your buck. And when we talk about dues often, and I'm not trying to take a side here, but when we look at most club dues, it's not the district nor the RI dues that drives the cost up. Matter of fact, to be a member and pay both of those dues is less than $100 a year. It's all of your other internal club, district club fees that they tend to add in, your lunch, your dinner, and all those other things. So I don't think the dues will be a big item, but it did go up. And that's about it, Jerry. Unless anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to try and answer them for them. And I'm not hearing anything or seeing anything.
There is something about a new leadership design that's being tested by some districts. Do you have any?
Yes, I don't have much input on that. It's where districts have been shrinking. It's where instead of putting one thing I can say is districts have to have 1,200 members in order to sustain a district. If we drop below 1,200, we're currently at about 1,350. We'll get a phone call from RI saying, "Hey, you're going to have to partner up with another district. We're going to have to do something. But we have to sustain a number higher than 1,200." They're kind of doing regional. I don't want to. I'm going to mess up the words, but what they're trying to do is do it regionally rather than districts. And it will, if that were to happen, there's a pilot in Australia and a pilot in England, I believe, that's doing it. And they're going to bring back a report, which is probably due in the next session, as to the feasibility and how it's working. But it will change the way most of us have known Rotary for all these years, for sure. And it's again about distribution of members, right? And we're growing so much in the East, India, in the Asian countries. Again, we're just growing by leaps and bounds, and we're just declining in North America, in Europe, England in particular. And so there's some concerns there, but no, I don't know enough about it, Jerry. I probably shouldn't really, other than it's some regional type of and going away from districts.
Okay.
And one last thing, Jerry, if I could, not on the council, but on district conferences, we will be having a district conference next year. Wendy Jones is definitely, we're all on board. I just want to let everybody know that it will be in Chatham, Ontario. It will be May 1st to the 3rd. So it's going to be a 3-day conference. And I think it would be a great opportunity for this club to come to a conference. You guys and gals all got on your bikes and thundered into Chatham, Kent. I think that there'd be nothing more awesome than watching you come down, parade down our main street. And if there was any need, and you did come and you were concerned about your rides, I can guarantee you that we will provide safe garages for overnight storage of your motorcycles. So I encourage you to think about it over the next year. I know it's a long ways away, but that's how we need to promote this. And I guarantee you that this conference will be a pets-like conference. We will have some really great interaction with our clubs. I'll be talking to the president-elects about how we want the clubs to be involved. And there will be some great speakers, and there will be some great fellowship. There will be some opportunities to do golfing and other things. So stay tuned, but please mark those dates down if you can. And it would be so cool to see this club again ride in on your motorcycles and take part in this district conference. So Jerry, I want to thank you in particular for inviting me again to speak to the club. It's always a pleasure. Again, I'm not a Zoom expert, but getting the opportunity to speak with the motorcycling Rotarians has always been a lot of fun. And this is the second time I think I got to do it from my cottage, other than we had rain today, so I had to stay inside. So you didn't get to see the beautiful bay this time around. But again, thank you very much for having me.
Other questions by anybody or comments?
Now, I would just like to say, Sparky, thank you. I'm a associate
You froze up
member
there.
of this club because I belong to a Rotary Club in Virginia Beach. I intend to take this back to my club and ask them to do the same thing with our district rep and have them make a presentation like you did tonight on the council, because I think it's fascinating and interesting, things I didn't know, and I've been a member of Rotary for over 40 years.
Well,
Same
thank you.
thing. I was very impressed that Sparky presented that tonight. It really was informative for everybody.
It was.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I'll tell you, it's something that I knew a little bit about, I think, because the previous years I had heard about it and spoke with some of our past sister governors. However, I do believe it's something that more Rotarians need to know about. These are things that we can talk about at our district conference. These are things that we can talk about at our district meetings and at our club levels, because it will rejuvenate membership. It'll take people like yourself and myself who've been in Rotary a long time and say, hey, we are a great organization. We are ground up. This is not Evanston telling us what to do. This is us and Evanston working together and them providing all of the great tools to allow us to do what we want to do in our communities and around the world, between grants and things of that nature. So we really are, you have a voice, if each and every one of us do, and it's really cool to be a member.
Hey, there was one resolution, let me see where it's at here, to amend the purpose of Rotary clubs. And it was adopted. Do you remember what was changed?
Off the top of my head, Jerry, no.
Okay.
It
wasn't significant.
No, it was probably a word or two that got changed around. That was all, or they added a word. And I really got to apologize now because I did not bring my files with me, because I would have all those notes in the files. What I promise I will do when I get back next week, I will look up, give me that resolution number, Jerry. Is it right there on the thing? You can see it?
It's 25-01.
25-01. I promise when I get back, I'll look up my notes and I'll fire you off an email and you can share it with the club. Yeah, for sure. And any others, if somebody else reads through those and they have any questions like that, send an email and I'll be glad to look it up and get it right back to everybody.
Yeah, there's an online summary, everybody, of the daily votes that were rejected and adopted and the vote numbers and all that stuff. So if anybody wants to do that, you just go to where it says the daily recaps, and then there's a way to download the preliminary voting results.
And also, if they just want to, just curiosity, you want to know more about council legislation, just Google Rotary International Council Legislation procedures, and boy, you'll read for hours, and it's really cool and interesting stuff.
Cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you for the invite.
So
Thank you.
we always end our meeting with the 4-way test. Actually, ours is the 5-way test. And I think I'm gonna mess with everybody and I'll lead it tonight. So the 5-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Fair concern.
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Friendships.
And fourth, will it be beneficial to all
All
concerned?
concerned.
And fifth, for us, will it be fun?
Don't fall off your motorcycle.
Will it be fun? And number 6, will anybody find out? So anyway, all right, guys. So thank you very much, Sparky, and I look forward to seeing everybody in 2 weeks, if not before. All right.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank
you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Now. Yeah.
Right.